I don't say this about many people. I've been in this sport for over 30 years. I've seen players come and go. I've seen talent that burned bright and faded, and I've seen talent that changed the sport forever. And when I tell you that Alex Eala is different, I need you to understand that. I am not saying that casually. I am saying that because I've watched her, studied her, and felt something watching her play that I haven't felt in a very long time. And the question that keeps sitting with me is whether the world around her is ready for what she's about to become. I want to be careful here because I know how these conversations go. Someone like me says something about a young player and suddenly there's pressure on that player that they didn't ask for, expectations that get placed on their shoulders before they've had a chance to just play their game and grow into who they're supposed to be. I've been on the receiving end of that kind of attention, and I know what it can do to a person, what it can do to a career. If the people around that player are intentional about protecting them from it. So I'm not standing here to pile weight onto Alex Eala. I'm standing here because I think something important needs to be said, and I think I'm one of the few people in a position to say it in a way that actually means something. The first time I paid real attention to her, not just notice her, but actually stopped what I was doing and watched. I was struck not by her power, not by her technique, not by any of the things that scouts and coaches talk about when they describe a prospect. What struck me was her composure. I mean, there's a particular kind of stillness that the greatest players have, a quality that you cannot teach and cannot manufacture, where the bigger the moment gets, the quieter they become inside themselves. Most players, even talented ones, even players who go on to have long, successful careers, they don't have that. They fight against the moment and they try to manage their nerves, control their breathing, use the mental tools they've been given, and those tools work. But they're tools. What Alex has isn't a tool. It's something that was already there. And when I saw it, I recognized it because I've only seen it a handful of times in my life in players whose names you know very well. She's 21 years old. I want that to stay in the room with us for a second because I think sometimes we hear that number and we place it in context of our expectations for a 21-year-old, and we don't fully appreciate what it means to have the game she has at that age. The maturity in her decision-making on court, the way she reads a situation, the way she adjusts mid-match without losing the thread of what she's trying to do, that is not a 21-year-old's mind. And honestly, that is not even a quality that all veterans carry. There are players who compete for 15 years and never develop the kind of in-match intelligence that Alex shows naturally. And I say that not to diminish anyone else's journey. Every player's path is valid, but to make clear that what we are looking at is genuinely unusual. I think about what it means to come from where she comes from and the Philippines. And I want to be honest about this because it matters. That the infrastructure that exists in the countries that dominate professional tennis, the academies, the financial support systems, the cultural machinery that identifies and develops talent from a very young age, that infrastructure does not exist equally everywhere. A player who reaches the level Alex has reached, coming from a country without that infrastructure, has had to work for things that other players received, has had to fight for access that other players took for granted, has had to develop a self-sufficiency and a resilience that doesn't come from a training program. It comes from necessity. And that resilience shows in how she competes. You can see it. It's in the way she recovers from a bad game, the way she responds to pressure, the way she doesn't let a difficult moment become a difficult set, become a difficult match.
In a single picture that has split the internet, the Foro Italico was hosting more than just tennis. It was staging a silent struggle of wills. On the clay of Rome, Alex Eala and Ariana Sabalenka never faced off. The cameras discovered something different even though their paths did not intersect during the draw. A fleeting moment, a quick glance, a conversation so delicate that the majority of onlookers missed it until the video went viral. From across the practice courts, the world number one, who had just won handily, was observing the Filipina. Her expression was more akin to recognition than appreciation or disdain. The tennis community erupted with one question once the pictures appeared on social media. What is going on between these two? The Foro Italico's practice courts in Rome on May 11, 2026, and an unexpected moment. I'll set the scenario for you. The Italian Open was about to reach its peak. Fans crowded the main stadium to witness the third-round games, but the true drama was taking place on the practice courts, where players were getting ready for their fights or dealing with their losses, away from the bright lights. Aryna Sabalenka had just concluded her personal practice session. The world number one had arrived in Rome as the defending champion, the clear favorite, the lady who had won 3 titles earlier this season. She had easily won her first matches, defeating Barbara Krejcikova 6-2, 6-3 to go to the third round because of her unrivaled strength and unwavering confidence. The Philippine flags were everywhere, Laban Alex's chants reverberated off the clay, the atmosphere was electrifying, and the 20-year-old from Manila was getting ready for the most important match of her clay season, a third-round match against world number 2 Elena Rybakina, when she passed the Pietrangeli court. Mid-step, Sabalenka halted. The moment was caught on video. Her face changed. It was something the cameras had never seen before, not rage or frustration. Identification, computation, and evaluation. For a few minutes, she observed Eala warming up. Her gaze tracked the Filipina's movements, observing her confidence, timing, and footwork. She just watched without grinning or frowning. At first, the photographer didn't give the picture much thought. It was merely a picture of a player observing another player. Occurs frequently at competitions. However, the response to the picture on social media was swift and intense. Take a look at Sabalenka's face. It's not an accidental observation. That's researching a rival. She is aware. She is aware of Eala's impending arrival. She knows that the future is here. The queen watches the princess warm up. This is the passing of the torch. The photo spread faster than any match highlight. Within hours, it has been viewed over 30 million times across Instagram, X, and TikTok. The comments area became a war of opinions, emotions, and crazy guesswork. Let me take you inside the maelstrom that erupted when the viral image of Aryna Sabalenka watching Alex Eala hit the internet, since the argument demonstrated just how much the dynamics of women's tennis had altered. The initial photo showed Sabalenka standing at the edge of the practice court, her arms folded, her expression unreadable. Eala was in the background, mid-swing, her gaze absolute, the Philippine flags flying in the distance. Analysts and fans started analyzing every element right away. Take a look at her eyes. She's not merely observing. She is studying. She's afraid. She is the top person in the world. Why would she be afraid of a 38th ranked player? Since she is aware of what is about to happen. Because she senses the energy, hears the chanting, and sees the flags. It's not a rating. It's a movement. The argument extended outside of tennis circles. The topic was picked up by major sports publications, with titles such as, "Is Aryna Sabalenka worried about Alex Eala and the Queen watches the princess?" What does Sabalenka think of the Filipina celebrity? Some supported Sabalenka, claiming that it was normal for a great player to monitor a budding star and that she was just observing a possible future opponent. You're making too many assumptions about a picture. All she is doing is watching tennis. Players act in this manner. Others perceived something more profound. Sabalenka has faced the world's top players. She has dealt with Rybakina, Goff, and Swiatek. She's never given them the same attention as she gave Eala. It's not an accidental observation. That's acknowledgement. Context fueled the dispute. Sabalenka and her coaching staff got into a furious argument during a match earlier in the competition, which was captured on camera. The world number one was heard screaming, "What are you showing me?" at her squad in the video. After having trouble with her time, fans made the connection. Not only was Sabalenka dissatisfied with her own performance, she could see what was about to happen, which frustrated her. A new star emerging to challenge her rule, a change in focus, a changing of the guard. One fan commented, "She's not stupid. She observes Eala's actions. She observes the chants, the flags, and the people. She is aware that women's tennis is evolving and that she has no control over it." Aryna Sabalenka was all business on the court. She was quite different off the court, And a single social media conversation revealed more about the world number one's thoughts for Alex Eala than any widely shared image could. Let me explain the paradox that has fans perplexed since Sabalenka's post-tournament actions were unexpected. Sabalenka was seen observing Eala in the widely shared pictures with a look that many saw as calculating, icy, or even menacing. The world number one was portrayed on the internet as the antagonist in a rivalry that had not yet begun. However, an event occurred that did not align with the story. Sabalenka used social media to laud someone else rather than to defend herself or respond to the rumors. Iva Jovic, an 18-year-old American player who shared pictures from her experience at the Italian Open, was the topic of discussion. Throughout the competition, Jovic had practiced with both Sabalenka and Eala, hitting with the Filipino one day and the world number one the next. Sabalenka used a number of endearing emojis in her remark on Jovic's post, including fire, heart, and clapping hands. "I adore this," she wrote. Eala also replied, posting a kind note on the same thread. Subsequently, Sabalenka responded to Eala's criticism with a straightforward yet impactful statement that caused the internet to recoil. She used a crown emoji to write, "Queen behavior." Eala was being publicly referred to as having queen behavior by the same woman who had been seen staring at her with an inscrutable face. It was a startling contradiction. Behavior of a queen. A social media conversation with 2 words, a crown emoji, and more than 10 million screenshots, analyses, and shares. Let me take you inside Aryna Sabalenka's public endorsement of Alex Eala because the world number one's next move didn't match the story of a champion under threat. Rather, it suited something completely